Hi guys, Jim again with RideSportsMarketing.com. Excuse my voice, a little under the weather this week. A couple weeks ago I told you I'd try to get an interview with Craig Littlepage, the head athletic director at the University of Virginia, and I've gotten that interview. Craig is one of the top athletic directors in the country. UVA finished third in the Directors' Cup last year, which the Directors' Cup is given to the top athletic department in the whole country, and they finished third. They're in the top 10 right now. He's been on Sports Illustrated list of the top 101 most influential minorities in sports. He's been the head of the NCAA Division I basketball committee. I mean, and the guy's a winner. He knows how to win. Got a great interview with him about his philosophy on why athletics. So, sitting here with Craig Littlepage, one of the things that you sort of seem to have in your philosophy is the idea that athletics brings people together. And you posed the question, at least you posed the question to Steve Garland and maybe some other coaches on the interview process, about why athletics. So, in your words, why athletics? Why are athletics important? What do athletics do for us?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to understand why I believe that an understanding of the value of athletics is a key component of any coach's background and thought process. And the reason is because, particularly in college athletics, we're in an era of probably the greatest scrutiny that we've ever been under in terms of accountability, responsibility. And if you look at it in terms of different entities, different schools, different units, different departments that are all vying for very limited resources, it does beg the question of one having to justify what it is that particular school, department, or program brings in terms of added value. So we are, in athletics, probably one of the more visible entities within the university structure. So we're a very easy target in terms of whenever something happens, good, bad, or indifferent, people want to know, well, why are we supporting this monstrous athletics program to begin with? Our priorities out of whack in terms of what it is that we're spending on facilities and salaries and scholarships, etc. So what I've told our staff on several occasions, in particular our coaches, because they're probably as much in the public as any of our employees here at the university, is we have to be ready to answer as professionals why it is important for the University of Virginia to have a top-performing sports program. And I think that the answer is an easy one, at least in my estimation, and it is because in college athletics, more so than anywhere else at the institution, we're in the business of bringing large groups of people together, and number two, we're in the business of developing relationships. And if you think of it in this way, over the course of an academic year, we will have over 100 athletic events here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Those athletic events will bring literally hundreds of thousands of people to Charlottesville, Virginia, not only to the university, but to this region, Central Virginia. And as a result of that, we have large numbers of people together. If you add on top of that the numbers of people that will watch an NCAA lacrosse championship game on TV, or that will watch a tennis Final Four over the internet, we literally have a reach to be able to touch millions of people. But more importantly, we bring hundreds of thousands of people here to this particular location on an annual basis. And then once you look at the composition of these people that assemble, whether it's 65,000 people in Scott Stadium for a football game, or whether it's several hundred people here to watch a volleyball game, but we have students, we have parents, we have faculty, we have folks that are residents of Charlottesville, Virginia, we have people that are visiting Monticello and other tourist destinations here in this area. We have corporate sponsors. We have any number of other stakeholders and folks that are interested in, A, the University of Virginia, but B, are here to celebrate their affinity for the intercollegiate sports program. So what is unique then is our ability to be able to develop a relationship between a prospective employer and a current student athlete, or a former student athlete and a faculty member. And we do this thousands of times over the course of an academic year. Is it the most important thing that we do at the University of Virginia? When you consider that teaching and learning are the core components of the activities that take place here at the University of Virginia, bringing people together and developing relationships isn't as important as that. But certainly there is a very high value that's placed on our ability to, again, bring all these different types of people together and then develop the kinds of relationships that bring added value to the institution. So if you asked a university president at a Division I institution, a Notre Dame, a North Carolina, a University of Texas, UCLA, where that university president does most of his or her cultivation and development related activities, 9 out of 10 of those university presidents are going to say they do it in association with an athletic event, because they're going to have legislators there, they're going to have donors there, they're going to have alums there, they're going to have other key people that could in some way be in support of an activity that's taking place at their particular institution.
And then when we talk about development, do you agree that development sort of supports a lot of the opportunity that the university can provide, both academically, athletically, and otherwise?
I think it's very important now, probably more so than any other time, because every public institution is facing the same situation where state governments are pulling back from the levels at which they are supporting higher education. So resources become very slim. Resources for the core functions around the institution in terms of teaching and learning are becoming much more competitive. The wish list in terms of what schools want to do to support their students are greater, but the resources are fewer. So universities are now going out very ambitiously and very aggressively to get private philanthropy to fill the gap between what state governments were doing maybe 10 years ago and what they're in a position to do now, which is pulling back in terms of millions of dollars of support to higher education.
Yeah. So with that said, the fact that athletics does such a in such a unique way brings people together. How does that happen? I mean, you address some of those. For example, in the luxury boxes, you may have development people meeting with potential donors and other people they want to cultivate relationships with. Where else does that happen, and how else does that happen, and how do you focus on making those things happen? Are there any other ways other than just sitting next to a person in a box?
Well, there are a number of ways. When I became athletics director in 2001, I rolled out a program that we call Faculty Partners. And basically the concept of Faculty Partners is that it's an opportunity for our professional staff, our coaches and senior administrators, to be respected within the University of Virginia as educators, much like faculty and senior administrators are at the university. So every one of our head coaches and our senior administrators are matched with a faculty member. And then the faculty member and the coach, or the faculty member and the department staff member, develop a professional relationship. So it may be a coach that goes and makes a presentation to the faculty member's class. It may be reading material that they share. We have coaches that entertain faculty members at luncheons, at dinners, assigning that faculty member to be kind of a coach of the game, or the faculty member that meets all of that particular sports recruits. But ongoing, it's an effort to demonstrate that the types of things that we do in athletics in terms of teaching and education are very similar to what happens in the classroom. And we have any number of great examples of faculty members that have gotten to know not only the coach to whom they are assigned, but they've gotten to know the assistant coaches, the student athletes, the parents of the student athletes, and we've developed great relationships among coaches and department personnel and faculty and university administration.
Yeah. So once again, bringing people together and building those relationships. And can you share with us one example? I mean, before
Sure.
you mentioned
routinely in any number of our suites at either the football stadium or the John Paul Jones Arena, either I or President Sullivan or members of our Virginia Athletics Foundation staff will invite different stakeholders. They could be donors, they could be faculty members, they could be people involved in state and local government, etc. One of my dear friends is a professor here at the university, Professor Ed Burton, who's a professor of economics, and he routinely will invite students to go out to lunch with him. Many times he has at these luncheons business leaders, CEOs, friends of his that with whom he consults on an ongoing basis. Many times he brings students and these guests from major corporations to athletic events. I've entertained them in my suites, and the opportunity for the students, not necessarily student athletes, but on occasion they are student athletes, that have the opportunity to be hosted by Professor Burton, have a chance to interact and get to know major executives for purposes of down the road opportunities of employment, developing their careers.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, that's a perfect example of how that can change people's lives and come back and hopefully reap more benefits and rewards for the university in the long run too.
Right. So. Well, like I've said on many occasions, we have a particular role at the institution here at the University of Virginia. Nobody does it better. The law school, the business school, the medical center. I don't think that there is a department or a school on grounds that can bring the breadth, the numbers of people together in the same way that we can in athletics. And then once we bring this diverse group of people together, the opportunity to develop relationships, sometimes lasting relationships that impact people's lives and careers.
Yeah, wow. Well, thanks for your insight. That's extremely valuable and very useful, and hopefully real useful to a lot of people watching. Thanks, Craig.
My pleasure.